You're watching the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14.
Right now it's 7. Well, what it is and how it can affect others.
And napping a statue of jolly old Saint Nick.
And
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Thanks for joining us for the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14. I'm Tanya Buck. An Oklahoma lawmaker is looking to lower the age to legally carry a handgun from 21 to 18. KOAM's Kerry Worthen talks with one gun store owner about his thoughts on the bill.
I think it's great.
The Second Amendment is a constitutional right, and actually it's a constitutional right that recognizes a God-given right and a natural right.
This bill would change the age restrictions for purchasing and carrying a firearm from 21 to 18.
People have the right to own guns for hunting, for self-protection, for target shooting, for, any lawful use. And 18-year-olds should also have that right.
Rob Chubb, who is the owner of On Target in Grove, Oklahoma, says right now there is a 10-day hold on 18 to 20-year-olds who buy a long gun.
We actually have, right now on our forms, we have about 5 individuals that are 18 to 20-year-olds that are in the delayed status and they can't pick their guns up. One of them's a young man, a 19-year-old wanting to go duck hunting with his buddies. He can't do it. He's got to wait.
Jim Olson says that 18-year-olds have the right to be an adult.
They have the right to vote. They have the right to exercise other constitutional rights: freedom of speech, freedom of the press, freedom of assembly, freedom of religion. When you're 18, you can decide you're going to go to church or that you're not going to. And if you're going to, where are you going to go? So they have all those rights. They should have this right also.
18 to 20-year-old can go serve in the military. He can go behind enemy lines, get shot at, get killed, but he can't buy a gun in his own home state, home country. That's wrong.
In Grove, Kerry Worthen, KOAM News.
And some organizations, including the Oklahoma chapter of Moms Demand Action, have expressed opposition to expanding gun access without a requirement for gun safety training. The legislative session will be heard in February of next year. Well, the Merriam-Webster Dictionary declares gaslighting as its 2022 word of the year. But what does it mean? The dictionary defines gaslighting as a psychological manipulation of a person over an extended period of time that causes the victim to question their reality. The goal is for the victim to rely entirely on the manipulator, typically a narcissist, for their perception of reality. Mental health experts say gaslighting requires planting seeds of doubt in order to exert control and distort the victim's view of reality.
And it would be similar to someone who would walk through a room who is sighted. They can walk through a room just fine, but you ask them to close their eyes and walk through that same room, they begin to doubt their perception.
Mental health experts say knowing what gaslighting is can help you spot red flags and protect yourself from being gaslighted. Now, coming up later. All right, the next story now. Ho, ho, oh no, someone stole Santa Claus. It's no joke. A Grinch has struck in Oswego, Kansas, where a Santa napper has made off with a statue of jolly old Saint Nick. KOAM's Shagun Bombadeli has more.
As Christmas draws nearer, community members of Oswego decorated their park with Christmas decorations until the main attraction was stolen.
The Santa went missing on Sunday night. He's a display, an individual display that my art gallery did, Abolish Blindness did, for our Light Up the Park annual event at Oswego's Riverside Park.
Sarah Lytle, the owner of the 4-foot Santa, says the community is lending a helping hand.
It was shocking. I thought it was a joke, but it's sadly not. I got a text saying, "Sarah, do you have Santa? We hope you have Santa because we've heard he's no longer there." It's been a real surprise to everyone because it's a very loving, friendly community. The silver lining is that the community is really coming together. Everyone is looking for Santa.
A resident of Oswego explains how she got the news.
got a call on Sunday night about 9:50 p.m. from one of my coworkers actually that had just driven through the park, and she said, Santa's missing. And I said, what do you mean? She said, he's missing, and sent me a picture, and I said, no way. And then I reached out to Sarah and Fred and said, hey, do you guys by chance have Santa? Because I had just been in the park earlier that evening and he was here.
Johnson says the kids of the community are distraught.
The kids were extremely sad. Every single day the kids asked, when is he coming back? Do we know where he's at? I know several of the kids at the school have mentioned that their parents have been even driving around Oswego trying to find him, driving down the gravel roads hoping maybe somebody threw him out somewhere. Anyways, we're very hopeful that a Christmas miracle will happen and Santa will return.
In Oswego, Shegun Mamdele, KOAM News.
Don't worry, kids, Christmas will still go on. The Santa Claus statue weighs about 100 pounds and is 4 feet tall. If you think you've seen the stolen Santa statue, you should call the Oswego Police Department.
All right, time for a look at this day in weather history. And back on this day in 1876, see, official government forecasts since beginning in 1871 had been called probabilities. Well, on this day, the term was replaced with indications. Later, of course, they would be called forecasts. All right, windy conditions later today. They're calm now, but by this afternoon, we're looking at 20, 30, 40 mile an hour wind gusts. We head into early tomorrow morning. Now we've got 35, 40 to 45 mile an hour wind gusts. As we head into tomorrow, wind gusts picking up to the 50 mile an hour range. Right now in Joplin, partly cloudy, 30 degrees, feels like 22 with that light breeze. We take a look at temperatures across the area, 30 Chanute, 31 Parsons, 30 Miami, and 31 in Neosho. Heading today for a high of 49 degrees with those windy conditions, so if you're on an east-west highway, do be cautious as these winds are out of the south. Hitting an early low around 9 or 10 of 37, and then we warm up to near 50 by sunrise. And as we look at the 7-day forecast, we're a little cooler this weekend, 58 by the way tomorrow, maybe some rain, 40 Saturday, 51 Sunday, 53 Monday, 45 Tuesday with more rain chances. Then we clear out and start to warm up as we head into the middle of next week.
Up next, Chef Anthony steps back into Studio K to break bread with us as well as to show us how to make that said bread.
And later, how DNA testing kits could help Holocaust survivors and their families find long-lost relatives. You're watching the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14. But first, here's another live look at Mercy Park and the pretty lights down there in Joplin. We'll be right back.
Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News. I'm joined again by Chef Anthony, and we've been making bread this morning.
Yes, I'm so
Sweet
excited.
bread. Yeah.
Yes, I love this recipe. It's my tried and true. The dough that we made earlier, we set it out to proof. If you're going to put it on a stove while the oven's heating for you to cook with it, you want to put it in the middle away from all your burners. Unless you have a gas stove, then you can set it on top, right in between the burners so that the heat will come up and warm it up. For most people who understand the process of how bread rises, the yeast inside, once it gets warm, starts getting active. And when I use that to explain to my students how that actually works, I always bring up that old Alton Brown episode where he's got the sock puppets that are yeast and they're belching through the whole thing because they produce gas. So it's a wonderful way. The kids love it. I love it. It's just funny. So we let that go through. Now we have our dough here that we set to rise earlier, and it's risen, and I punched it down just a little bit, and it's nice and uniform. We're going to stretch it out just a little bit. We want to make sure that we get the yeast redistributed, that there's no pockets. And I always do this the same way. I grab it on two sides, kind of give it a little flop, and then I just fold it over into thirds to let it work. And I do that just a few times to kind of make sure that I get a nice even distribute all the way through it. And as you can see, our gluten's building up really nice inside. So we have our size that we want. We'll put it in however shape that we want to do it in. Now, some of the beauties of using this particular dough is you can pull off pieces of it, and you can roll this out by hand if you have the patience.
Are we making like a straight bread, or are we going to add anything to it? Because I know you use this as a base dough for several different varieties.
Yes, I use this. I can make beignets with this. I can do cinnamon raisin bread with this. I can do, my brother used to do cinnamon rolls with it. So there's all sorts of things that you can do, just depending upon what you want. And we're going to kind of play with this a little bit. If you want something fancy for your dinner table, this is a great bread for it. So I'm just going to make a couple of long
baguettes.
Oh yes, you can. Well, no, because baguettes you really want to ferment your yeast.
Okay.
Which is a little bit different of a process. It takes longer outside of the refrigerator.
Okay.
So, but you could do a modified beignet, or excuse me, a modified baguette just by pulling it out like so, and laying it on there and letting it grow itself up. But just treat it like Play-Doh. The dough like Play-Doh, and
but you can eat this Play-Doh.
Yes, you can eat this Play-Doh. Well, you can eat the other one too. It just doesn't taste good.
Yeah, it's non-toxic.
That's true. But I mean, at our age, we've lived through quite a few things that we've eaten probably that we should not have experimented with.
My mom used to make us homemade Play-Doh.
Oh, there you go. My grandmother made that once or twice. But I'm just going to roll this out a little bit, let it get used to my hands. And for those people that are talented enough, I take one larger piece, push them together, and you can
make a pretty braid.
Yeah, you can do like a braid with it.
I see you've never braided hair.
No, I don't braid hair. But I have also used this to make pretzels.
Okay.
So you can do just about anything that you want with it. And if you want to do a pretzel, salt water, a nice brine, and get it nice and warm, and then get your shape that you want. And toss it right into the brine. It'll create
once
a crust.
we're done playing with the dough, what is the next step?
Well, when you decide what you're going to do with it, and see, it'll all go back together really easy. So once you decide what you want to do with it, if you're going to do just a loaf like we've done this morning, I always leave it in kind of this shape and then get it somewhat to the size of my pan. And I spray my pan a little bit generously, drop it right in, and then put it on top of the stove again, wherever you used it to proof. Put it right up there and let it proof again, and then put it in the oven at 350 degrees until it's golden brown and delicious.
How long do you need to let it proof that second time?
Until it's as big as you want it to be. It's going to go about another ½ an inch bigger than whatever it is when you put it in the oven, because the extra heat is going to excite the yeast even more.
Yes.
So the yeast will start dying off at about 180 degrees.
Okay.
So just let it go.
So bake it in the oven for how long?
It depends until you get the golden brown color on top.
Okay. And when we come back, we will try out our sweet bread, plus give you all the details about the Culinary Art Club bake sale that they have going on right now. We'll be right back. Welcome back. Chef Anthony has been preparing the ultimate scratch and sniff recipe.
That's right. I wish we could get smell-o-vision.
I know, right? It smells amazing. And when the bread was baking I know we have several different loaves here, but you were actually baking one in the break room in the oven, and opened the oven. Oh, it smells so good.
Good. I'm glad you enjoyed it. So this one that I have right here is...
You should explain why I said scratch and sniff, though.
The way I show how bread's really good is if you scratch the top, you can hear it. And a nice crusty homemade bread like this is just absolutely perfect. So it's the best way to do it. And now this, I have so many fond memories of this for breakfast with fried eggs and bacon or sausage. And then this toasted right up. It's so wonderful.
Is this the one that was baking in the oven?
This is the one that was baking in the oven earlier from the bread dough that we made earlier today. So I'm just going to pop it right out.
Remind us how long it needs to bake up. Like this particular size, how long it took to bake it?
This one I put this one in at about 6:30 and brought it out just right before we went on the air.
Okay.
So this one, depending upon your oven, you can get 20 minutes, you can get half an hour, and the size of the loaf also makes a difference, because I've done little bitty loaves, and they take 15 to 20 minutes on those because of the style of the pan. If you have a dark pan or a light pan, that makes a difference as well.
So these are two totally different types.
These are totally different types of bread. This one is just a classic, and we'll I always tell everybody, always use a serrated knife when it's warm. Because you don't have to press on it.
I've got my butter knife. I don't know if I need butter, but
Oh, a little
you brought it
butter
out
on
for me,
this.
so we'll put some on there. Oh, look at that spread on there. It's so soft.
It is so perfect.
Oh, I'm excited to try this. It's so warm still, it's melting the butter as it comes off the knife. Oh, that's gonna be delicious. Everyone in the control room is jealous. I'm sorry, there'll be plenty for you. I won't eat the whole loaf, I promise. Maybe.
You may not, I might.
Yummy.
Isn't that wonderful?
Oh, that's really good.
It's real simple, it's not real dense, and it's just a wonderful thing to have on hand anytime that you want it, and it really doesn't take that long to make. So
They're so good.
this one's wonderful. Now I brought you a special treat. We'll put this one right back up on here,
I'll just leave this right here.
and then I have this one for you.
Okay.
Now this one I have a lot of fond memories of from when I was a kid.
Is this the cinnamon swirl?
This is cinnamon raisin bread.
Cinnamon raisin bread.
It's homemade. You can put your own, and you can actually still see the swirls.
Do I need to add butter to this
I
one?
would definitely add butter to this one. To me, adding butter to it is a nostalgia memory.
Now this one was already, you had made
Yes,
this
I
one
made
a little
this one a little bit. With the cinnamon raisin bread, you want to let this one cool just a little bit. And as you can see in the camera, it's gorgeous. You can see all the swirls coming through, the raisins are inside, and you can add as few or as many raisins as you want. Isn't that great?
And you still have that same sweet bread taste to it. It's the same bread, you just added in your
Just added in the sweetness to it. So, and we're doing these along with our bake sale. We're doing cinnamon bread. We're doing apple cinnamon bread. We're going to make some beignets. We'll do a traditional sweet bread. They're doing a cinnamon apple. And they believe they're doing a strawberry cream cheese swirl with dried strawberries and cream cheese.
Reasonable prices too. I think it was like $8 a loaf.
$8
or
a
something.
loaf.
And with the beignets, you get
10 beignets.
10 beignets for $8.
And we'll do gluten-free for $2 more.
There you go. That's perfect. And there, if you go to our website, KOAMnewsnow.com, and click on this morning show story, you can watch this, get the recipe for the sweet bread. But even easier, there's a QR code on there where you can go and order bread, and the students will make it for you. You're supporting. Tell us, where does the money go?
The money goes right back into Culinary Club. It helps allow us to do all the different events that we put on for the teachers. It helps us putting on events for ourselves, like next week is our holiday party. So, and the holiday party gets expensive.
You have like dozens of kids in this
Yes.
club, so it requires lots of food.
It does, and we're making all sorts of things for it. We're taking cash checks. We have a Venmo set up, so as you go onto the order QR code, you can order anything that you want. And we're processing on Mondays. We'll make it, let you know that it's available for pickup or delivery, probably about Wednesday or Thursday.
All right, we are out of time. We're going to go to break. I'm going to continue to eat this bread, but not the whole loaf. Don't worry, Tim. I'll save some for you. Maybe. We'll be right back. It's time to honor today's state hero, Charles Madison Jr. Staff Sergeant Madison served in the Army from 1967 to 1969. He served in Vietnam with the 1st and the 30th Artillery and 1st Cavalry. This highly decorated veteran earned several medals, including the National Defense Service Medal and the Vietnam Campaign Medal. A native of Lamar, Missouri, we thank you. Today's four-state hero, Charles Madison Jr.
Well, DNA testing kits could help Holocaust survivors unlock the secrets of their past and possibly help them identify family members lost and separated because of the Nazi atrocities during World War II.
Matt Finn reports.
They survived with their lives, but not with their histories.
DNA testing kits could help Holocaust survivors find and identify long-lost relatives after families were ripped apart during World War II.
Survivors who are around today were children, and they're the ones who are more likely to have come through without knowing their family history.
In New York City, the Center for Jewish History is spearheading the DNA Reunion Project, giving hundreds of free kits to Holocaust survivors and their children who apply online.
The number of Holocaust survivors in the world is dwindling every year. Their time is really running out to restore some of that lost history.
Officials hope this will provide justice for families at a time when they say hate speech is gripping the nation.
As we know from recent headlines, not only is anti-Semitism on the rise, but also Holocaust denial is on the rise.
Meanwhile, in London, a DNA kit has already helped Holocaust survivor Jackie Young learn about his past. Young was adopted by an English family after spending years in a Nazi internment camp.
My mother, my father, and the family were taken away on trains and murdered. It opened a door that I thought would never get opened, of the fact of who was my father.
Before broader access to DNA kits, many Holocaust survivors needed to comb through paper documents and historical archives to try and find any limited family information. Matt Finn, Fox News.
Important to recall that history, and this is a great way for them to try and preserve some of that family history.
Yeah, it's great to hear that they're finding those answers finally.
Absolutely. Well, we've got a lot of wind building in. So our wind has come through this morning, but it's going to start to pick up later this morning and into this afternoon. Wind gusts from 20, 30, upwards of even 40 miles an hour in some cases. As we head into early tomorrow morning, say around 2 a.m., wind gusts now from 40 to 45 miles an hour. And as we go through the day on Friday and into the afternoon, then we get those winds gusting upwards of 50 miles an hour. And this is a south breeze. So if you're traveling on east-west highways like 54, I-44, 400, 160, you're going to want to make sure you give yourself plenty of time to get where you're going, because even smaller vehicles in these kinds of winds can get pushed around. And don't turn on your Christmas displays tonight, your inflatables, because they will be in the next county by sunrise if you do. Speaking of sunrise, we got a few clouds out there, but not too bad. Partly cloudy, 30 degrees in Joplin, feeling like 22. Still a cold start for the day. 30 in Chanute, 31 Parsons, 30 Miami, Neosho, Monette, Carthage, and 29 in the Lamar and Nevada. We're heading for a high today of 49 degrees, and again, by this afternoon, the wind really picks up. I want you to pay attention to 8 o'clock. We get down to 38 degrees. We're going to hit an overnight low of 37 right around 9, 10 o'clock tonight. And with the south breeze bringing in warm air, we're going to start to warm towards sunrise. We're looking to be near 50 under mostly cloudy skies as we head toward tomorrow morning. Head into the weekend, a chilly Saturday, 40 degrees, mostly cloudy, 51 on Sunday, partly cloudy, a stray shower or two possible each day, but most of us are going to remain dry. Tomorrow, 58, 50 mile an hour wind gusts to go with that, and some rain chances. We get through the weekend, so here's our roller coaster again. We come up, we go down, we're going to go back up, 53 Monday with rain, then back down to 45 on Tuesday with more rain, and as we head into Wednesday, 53 and partly cloudy. We'll be back with a lot more after this, but first, here's another live look at Mercy Park in Joplin.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14. It's currently 7:33. A species of bat that's found in Missouri, Kansas, and Oklahoma has been declared endangered. The northern long-eared bat has been decimated by a fungal disease called white nose syndrome. The disease is named for the white fuzzy spots that appear on infected bats, and it attacks bats' wings, muzzles, and ears when they hibernate in caves and abandoned mines. Because of this, some caves where the bats live have been closed to the public.
It's kind of a situation of a rising tide lifts all ships. You know, do something across the board, and it does help a number of bat species. So habitat care, stay out of caves.
The disease was first documented in the U.S. in 2006. It has infected 12 types of bats and killed millions. Merriam-Webster Dictionary declared gaslighting as the word of the year for 2022. We announced it earlier this week, and KOAM's Amber Jenkins spoke to mental health experts about that term.
Merriam-Webster defines gaslighting as a psychological manipulation that takes place over an extended amount of time that calls the victim to question their reality.
It's that your opinion has to be significantly different than others. And so sometimes that gets confused with trying to take power and control over someone else by trying to convince them something that is true isn't.
Being gaslighted can make you feel like you're in a dark room with your eyes closed.
And it would be similar to someone who would walk through a room who is sighted, they can walk through a room just fine. But you ask them to close their eyes and walk through that same room, they begin to doubt their perception.
Narcissists lack empathy, making them more prone to gaslight someone.
Narcissism is a characteristic that's often found in gaslighters because narcissists often have this capacity to see their own reality, make their own reality, and express their own reality.
Gaslighting is about gaining control and power in the relationship.
In our society, in this time and age, I think control is something that we're all looking for, but we kind of look for it in the wrong kind of places and in the wrong way.
Having a term to define this behavior helps people spot the red flags.
I've been in relationships with guys that had narcissistic behavior, and now looking back, I'm like, they were gaslighting me. And now I know going forward, I will act differently towards that because I know what it means now.
Remember, your mental health is important and leaving a situation should be a priority. Reporting in Joplin, Amber Jenkins, KOAM News.
Searches for the word gaslight on Merriam-Webster.com increased more than 17,000% this year.
We've got some wind on the way, so right now the MoDOT camera at 36 in range line looking pretty good. Quite a bit of cars out there. And then as we head into this afternoon, the winds are calm now. They're going to pick up 20, 30, 40 mile an hour wind gusts by this afternoon. And as we head into the overnight hours, say about 2 a.m., winds really start to pick up 40, 45 miles an hour. And if that's not windy enough, well, it's not done with us yet. By the time we head into tomorrow afternoon, 50 mile an hour wind gusts across the area, so do be prepared for that. This is a south breeze, so if you're traveling on east-west highways, make sure you are got a good grip on the wheel and that you are paying very close attention. Give yourself time to get where you're going. 30 degrees, partly cloudy in Joplin, feeling like 22 out there. Still a cold start for us today. 30 Chanute, 31 in Parsons, 29 Pittsburgh, Lamar, 30 Carthage, Monette, Neosho, Anderson, Grove, Miami, and Chautauqua. So we're starting to warm up slowly but surely. All right, taking a look at our forecast. Heading for a high of 49 degrees today. It'll be very windy this afternoon, but we'll have mostly clear skies. 38 by 8, and that's important because our overnight low tonight is 37, and we'll be hitting that about 9, 10 o'clock, and then temperatures will gradually warm through the evening. We're expected to be near 50 degrees by sunrise tomorrow. Heading into tomorrow, 50 mile an hour wind gusts, as we mentioned. Some rain chances, 58 for the high. Then we drop down to 40 on Saturday, 51 Sunday. A stray shower possible each day, but I think most of us are going to stay dry. More rain Monday and Tuesday, 53, 45, and then we warm back up again, mostly cloudy skies, and 53 by next Wednesday. We've got a lot more of the KOAM Morning News coming right up. People across the southeast woke up to widespread destruction after dozens of reported tornadoes on Tuesday. Cleanup is now just beginning for many communities. Fox Weather's Max Gordon has more.
A powerful tornado tearing through Montgomery County, Alabama overnight, killing multiple people.
This is a sad day for Montgomery County as a whole.
The twister was one of dozens that reportedly touched down in the southeast overnight. They left behind a trail of debris, forcing trees onto buildings and roads. Montgomery County officials say other people in the area were injured. Crews will continue checking on homes throughout the region.
With them doing door to door, just walking, checking. I mean, the search and rescue is going to continue, but we're going to continue to do that until we make sure that everybody's accounted for.
Across Alabama and here in Mississippi, severe thunderstorms dropped several inches of rain. Damaging winds snapped power lines, leaving thousands without electricity. Officials say nighttime storms like these are more dangerous because people may not have enough time to seek shelter.
I think the nighttime portion, that is what worries us the most, is because, some people may be asleep, some people may be traveling.
Throughout the southeast, power restoration and cleanup efforts are already underway. Multiple families have been displaced after these storms tore roofs off of homes and apartment buildings.
You can hear there's saws operating already this morning. The cleanup will be relatively quick. This is a rural area, so that's a good thing for us.
Officials here remind people to have an emergency plan in place for future storms. In Bassfield, Mississippi, Max Gordon, Fox Weather.
Well, we've got some weather of our own to get ready for, as winds are calm now, but they're going to be picking up later. We're looking at gusts pushing upwards of 20, 30, even 40 miles an hour as we head into this afternoon. As we go into overnight hours, say about 2 a.m., now we're looking at gusts from 40 to 45 miles an hour across the region. And by tomorrow afternoon, those wind gusts return to 50 miles an hour. And this is a southerly breeze, so east-west highways like 54, 400, 160, I-44. If you're traveling on any of those later today into tomorrow, be aware that that is the situation you're going to be dealing with. You want to have a tight grip on the wheel. Give yourself plenty of time to get where you're going. Got some cloudy skies in Joplin. Sun trying to peek through out there. 30 degrees, feeling like 22. Pretty cold across the region still. We're not going to do a ton of warming today, but we'll get a little bit warmer. 30 Chanute, 31 in Parsons, Chautauqua, and Pittsburgh. 30 in Lamar, Carthage, Monette, Neosho, Anderson, and Grove, and at the freezing point in Miami. Now today we're heading for a high of 49 degrees under mostly clear skies, and I want you to pay attention to 8 o'clock. So we've got the wind, of course. 38 by 8, and we'll have an overnight low, an early overnight low of 37, say right around 9 or 10 o'clock tonight. And then after that, with that strong southerly wind increasing, temperatures will slowly rise through the overnight. We're near 50 under mostly cloudy skies as we head into tomorrow morning. Now for the 7-day, we'll be 58 tomorrow, some rain chances possible across the area, and of course the 50-mile-an-hour wind gusts to deal with. And then as we head into Saturday and Sunday, 40 and 51, so a little cooler on Saturday. A stray shower or two possible each day, but I think most of us will remain dry. Better rain chances Monday and Tuesday, and there's that roller coaster as we go down, then we start to come back up. We'll go down a bit. 45 on Tuesday, then we warm back up to 53 by Wednesday with some mostly cloudy skies. We'll be back with a lot more after this, but first, got another live look at Mercy Park in Joplin. We'll be coming back.
In Consumer Watch this morning, in a big speech in Washington Wednesday, Federal Reserve Chairman Jerome Powell said the Fed may still raise interest rates higher, but the pace of those hikes could slow as soon as this month. Powell said there's some good news on inflation, predicting the price of housing and rent would decrease next year, but he also acknowledged the country has a long way to go in the fight to stop inflation, with a hot labor market and the price of services such as dining out and travel continuing to rise. Well, DoorDash is the latest tech company to slash jobs. The food delivery company is eliminating over 1,200 corporate jobs, saying it hired too many people when demand surged during the COVID-19 pandemic. It comes the same day government data showed there were 10.3 million job openings in October, down from 10.7 million the previous month. And now Chick-fil-A lovers can show off their loyalty through fashion. The chicken chain this week launched its first ever merchandise collection, selling items like mugs, t-shirts, blankets, and hoodies, with prices ranging from $15 to $75. Chick-fil-A says it expects the swag to sell out quickly, but it will add more items next year. We'll be right back with more after this, but first let's take a look at the market prices before the opening bell. Hip-hop artist DJ Khaled is living in the lap of luxury in his bathroom, of all places, all thanks to an expensive gift by fellow rapper Drake.
Jeannie Moose explains.
Rapper DJ Khaled was bowled over, toilet bowled over, by the birthday gift Drake sent him.
Drake, thank you for this gift. This is the most amazing toilet bowl I've ever seen in my life.
4 of them, actually. He couldn't stop playing with the lid, raving about the features.
Melissa, what's some of the features?
It has a UV light cleaning system.
It got a UV light cleaning system.
It's remote control operated.
This top-of-the-line Toto toilet retails for just over $20,000 each. It's called the NeoRest NX2. It sounds like a fancy sports car.
It actually feels like it when you're sitting on it.
Apparently, Drake is a toilet connoisseur.
If you've ever been to Drake's house, his toilet bowls are incredible.
Another rapper recorded this one at Drake's, operated by a touchpad. And Drake himself once told Rap Radar that one of his toilets features Tupac.
I don't know if you guys went to the toilet yet, but you know the toilet plays Pac.
Toto exec Bill Strang says they even have a toilet called the Drake that retails for just under $600. I mean, the Drake is cheap for you guys.
It is. It is our workhorse.
And no, it's not named after this Drake. Next time Drake comes to visit DJ Khaled, at least he'll have a nice place to sit.
Definitely put one in the studio for you.
Jeannie Moose, CNN.
Heated seats, too.
New York.
$20,000 for that throne?
Okay, you know what? I'm going to tell station management we can forego overhauling our studio if they can just get us a couple of those $20,000 toilets instead. They had heated seats. They'd never see any of us again. We would all disappear to the bathroom for days.
You spent enough time in there already, Chris.
Your bathroom's more comfortable than your recliner in the living room.
Oh my goodness.
It's a $20,000 toilet. Do you know what you do with your toilet? Is anybody at home confused at what the toilet is for? Like, you're spending $20,000 on a
What
place
is the
to receive
return
waste.
policy on a gift like this? Like if it's used? Like, is there a return policy on
I
that?
don't know. He was so excited about, I've never seen anybody so excited about a toilet. Why? Why does it need to do any of those things?
Drake is apparently the king of the thrones.
Oh my gosh. Okay. You know, here's the deal though. I wouldn't mind a heated seat toilet, you know, because those of us who live in squalor, you know, our bathrooms are a little bit colder. I suspect that Drake's bathroom is probably like heated floors and everything else.
You
so his
could get
toilet
like
seat's probably
a
never
small
cold.
little space heater, like, you know, a tiny heater, and just put it in your bathroom and aim it at your toilet too. That works. That works pretty good.
All right, well, whatever. We've got some windy conditions building for us today. We've got wind gusts later this afternoon pushing 20, 30, 40 miles an hour. Into the overnight, they increase to 40 to 45 miles an hour. And as we head into tomorrow, we look at wind gusts by the afternoon pushing 50 miles an hour. This is a south breeze. So if you're traveling east to west, make sure that you are holding onto the wheel. Give yourself plenty of time to get where you're going. Partly cloudy, 30 degrees in Joplin. Feels like 22 right now. Cold start to the day for us, but we'll warm a little bit later. 26 Iola, 29 Fort Scott, Nevada, 30 Lamar in Carthage, and at the freezing point in Miami. Heading for a high today of 49 degrees with mostly clear skies, and of course the wind picking up this afternoon. 38 by 8 because our overnight low is going to be 37, and we're going to reach that about 9 or 10 o'clock. Then temperatures will warm through the evening near 50 by sunrise under mostly cloudy skies. Could see some rain showers with those 50-mile-an-hour wind gusts. 58 tomorrow. Chilly Saturday, a little warmer Sunday. Rain chances both days, but most of us are going to remain dry. Better rain chances Monday and Tuesday. That roller coaster continues. Then we clear out. We're 53 on Wednesday under mostly cloudy skies. Got a lot more after this, but first, here's another live look at Mercy Park in Joplin.
Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14. Here's what's happening today. The House voted to avoid a potential nationwide rail strike, passing a bill that would force both sides to accept an agreement that includes a 24% raise over 5 years. Today, Transportation Secretary Pete Buttigieg and Labor Secretary Marty Walsh will be on Capitol Hill to talk with Senate Democrats. Lawmakers want to add 7 days of paid sick leave, but it's unclear if there's enough Republican support for that amendment to pass the Senate. And the White House hosts its first state dinner of the Biden administration tonight, with the president and first lady welcoming French President Emmanuel Macron and his wife Brigitte. The dinner was inspired by the red, white, and blue of both countries' flags. Jill Biden says the menu is an expression of welcome and friendship. New Orleans musician John Baptiste provides the entertainment for the dinner. And Prince William and Princess Kate arrived in Boston to much fanfare on Wednesday, the start of a 3-day royal visit to the U.S. The two are here to focus on environmental issues and climate change, and in doing so, will show off the younger generation of the British monarchy. White House says President Biden plans to greet them on Friday.
Winds will be increasing as we go through the afternoon, pushing 20, 30, 40-mile-an-hour gusts. A high of 49, mostly clear. Winds increase overnight, 40, 50-mile-an-hour gusts. Early low of 37, then temperatures warming through the evening to near 50 by sunrise. Tomorrow, winds pushing 50-mile-an-hour gusts, 58 for the high. Maybe some rain showers. A stray shower possible two possible through the weekend, but most of it's dry. 40 and 51. Then better rain chances Monday and Tuesday, and then we clear out, mostly cloudy Wednesday and 53.
All right.
So we got some windy days ahead of us. Make sure you secure your trash can. If you're driving on an east-west road, this is a south breeze, so make sure you're prepared for that. Give yourself plenty of time to get where you're going. And do not turn on your Christmas inflatables unless you are wanting to donate them to the next county over, which in this case, so like if you're in Joplin, you'll be donating it to the folks in Lamar. And if you feel like that, then turn them on tonight. Otherwise,
basically,
don't do it.
if you turn them on, you aren't going to blow them up. You're going to blow them away.
Exactly. Well, thank you so much for letting us put the good in your morning. We're back with more news and weather today at noon.
Have a great morning and an even better day.